Good day everyone, it's Alkali Shepherd. Today I'll be designing this dashboard. This dashboard is actually made out of a student register in a school fees analysis template I designed some months back. So basically all I am saying is the primary data I will be using to recreate this dashboard is actually a student's register in a school fees template. So if I am to click home, you can see this brings us here. So basically this is a school fees analysis template, and as you can see here, we have the payments entry, the payment analysis, students register, receipts, and dashboard. So we'll be basically creating our dashboard out of the student register. So let me click on this so you can actually see what we have behind it. So this is what we call the student register in this particular template. So maybe subsequently I might be doing a video to show you all how I designed this student register, but for now the primary goal is for us to recreate the dashboard. So if I come back home, I'll quickly just take you guys on the tour. So if I click payment entry, this brings us here. So basically entries of payments are made here. If any student is to make a payment of school fees, this is where we enter those amounts. If I come to payment analysis, these are reports in tabular forms. So every school fees that has been paid, this is where the analysis is run. If I come back home, then we have the receipt. So after payments have been made, it is expected that the proof of payment is given to the student, and this is where we print out that. So this is the receipt. As you can see, if I come back home, then what we're left with is the dashboard and the student register. So let us proceed with designing the dashboard. So all I want from you is to sit back, relax, and pay maximum attention. All right then, so I'll be transferring this payment, or should I say I'll be transferring this student register to a new workbook. I actually want to start the project in a new workbook. So let me quickly copy this information and take to a new workbook. I just Control N, and we have a new workbook. So I'll be pasting here. I just want the values. Good. So I'll quickly just make a table out of this. So I Control C. So make sure you check that my table has headers. If you included the headers from copying, then I OK. You can see we now have a table. Out of the students register is going to come our dashboard. So out of this, I'll quickly create a pivot table. So I come to insert, then pivot table at the far left, then from table stroke range. So you can see here, this is the name of your table. So by default, Excel gives my table table 1, but endeavor to always name your table after you've created a table using the table design. So but now this is saying the name of my table is table 1. Then for where I want the pivot table to be, I want it to be in an existing worksheet, because I've actually created a sheet which is dedicated to the pivots. So I select the location, which is dashboard pivots. Then I come here. So you just select the range for where you want the pivot table to be. Then I OK. So we can see we have a pivot table. All right then. So what I'll do next is I'll proceed to the dashboard development. So what I used for those backgrounds are shapes. So I used rectangular shape basically. So I pick this rectangle, then I drag. All right then, so we can see this shape is actually covering my entire background. So the color I'll be giving, but first of all, I don't want the shape outline, so I'll say no outline. So the color I'll be giving is a hex code. Just pay attention and see. So I come to more colors. So the hex code I'll be using is 34. This is the hex code. Then OK, so we can see we have the green background. So for the black background, I'll be inserting another shape on top of this shape. So I pick another rectangular shape. So I don't want the outline, so I come to shape format. Then for the outline, I'll say no outline like this. So for the color, we'll be giving it a black color. So I come to home, then come to this place, then I pick this. We can see we have a black background. So for I don't know if you observed, but at the far left there are certain values. You can see certain amounts that are coming out. So I actually use a shape for the background, and I use text box to produce all those values we can see there. So how do we go about that? So I'll be using a rectangle with rounded corners. So I click on this, then I drag. I kind of make it touch both shapes, right? Kind of like intersecting. So okay, so this is what we have. I'll just let it be like this. Let me expand a little. All right then, so this is what I'll let it be. So then I can now take out the outline. I don't want the outline. For the fill, I'll be giving it this blue gray text to lighter 80%. So I click on this. I think this is the fill I'll be making use of. So for the texts, for the values we can see, I'll be using text box. But before then, let us create the engine, that is the dashboard pivots, because basically this is what is going to be responsible for every value you see produced on this dashboard and every chart you see produced on this dashboard. So the first thing we can see there is the cumulative payment. So I want it in such a way that the cumulative payment appears whenever I click a particular section or whenever I click all the sections. But what I want is to see the cumulative payment first, then I want to see the outstanding, then I also want to see the net payable, right? So the net payable is more like what is expected to be paid by a student. The cumulative is what he has paid out of the net payable. It might be that he has paid completely, or it might be that he has paid part, and for the outstanding is what is left out if he has paid part, right? So for now I want to produce the cumulative payment, so I bring the cumulative payment to values, and this is what we have. You can see we have over 6 million naira, over 6 million naira. So what I'll do is I'll name this cell, I'll call it cumulative payment, cumulative payment, like this. Then for the outstanding, let me just copy and paste this. Let me just duplicate this pivot. Okay, so I don't want the cumulative payments now. What I want is the outstanding. So I bring the outstanding to values, and this is what we have. So I want the net payable, so I take this out. Then I locate my net payable here, so I just drag this to, so this is what we have, right? So I can now name this outstanding, come to this place. All right, then, so after doing this, I come back to my dashboard. So I think this is kind of wide. What will I use to bring those values? So I'll be using text box. So I come home, come to insert rather, then come to text, then text box. So you can now drag on this surface like this. All right, so what I'll do is to insert that value, we come to the formula bar, then we put equal to cumulative payments. You now call the name you give to that particular cell you're referencing. So you can see this is the name we gave to the cumulative payment cell. So I click on this, then I enter. So you can see my value now comes to this particular area, and this is what I want. So later on we can deal with the formatting. So let me just duplicate this 2 more times. All right, so the first one is cumulative payments, and this second one is the outstanding. So this text box is highlighted, so I come to the formula bar, then equal to, I named it outstanding, so I will call out outstanding. You can see it appearing here, so you double tap, then enter. You can see the outstanding, or the value for its outstanding is now appearing. So for the net payable, I think the net payable is the first from the observation. The cumulative payment is next. Then we have the outstanding to be the third on the list. Then I think the final is the population of the students. But let's first of all finish the editing of this 3. Then we can now add for the students, for the student number, or for the number of students. So this first person, I can quickly just give it a background color. So the background color remains the same as the background of the shape, as the background color of the shape. And I don't want any outline, so I come to shape format, then I pick no outline. So I'll quickly change the format these values have. So you right click at this point, go to value field settings, then you select number format. Good. So you can now change the currency. So you click the drop down and select the Nigerian Naira. Then you OK. Then OK finally. And you can see the format of that particular value change. So the same thing applies to every other value you can see here. Alright, so we can see we've changed the format of the numbers. So we actually want them to be displayed as currencies. So this is the formats we now have. Okay, so it's actually coming together. Now we kind of increase the size. So let's make this 'So there are little changes I'll be making in the height and width of these shapes, including the backgrounds. So just observe the width and height I'll be giving to the shapes. For this shape carrying the details of the cumulative net payable and outstanding, I'll just come to shape format. Then I'll be giving it a height of, this is the height. Then for the width, 2.76. I think this is what we should be using. Then for the green background, I don't know if you can see but presently I've highlighted my green background. Sorry about the inconvenience. So for the green background, if you can observe, you can see around this area there is some kind of, okay, let me just bring it down so you can see. So I've already highlighted my green background. So for my green background, I'll be giving the height, that is going to be my width. Then for my black background, I'll be giving it a height of, alright then, so I'll quickly be adding the icons and the titles of these amounts we can see here. So quickly I just come to the next sheet. I have some pre-downloaded icons. So I'll ask you to endeavor to download certain icons that can represent the information you are trying to pass. So for all those payments, I think I'll be making use of this particular icon. So I'll just control C this, then I come to my dashboard, then I paste. Good, this is what we have. Now I quickly insert the titles of these amounts. So I'll be using a text box. For the values, I'll be changing their font style and size. I'll quickly group and reposition these items. You right click, then you group. All right, so now let's add our population for the students. So I'll be coming to the dashboard pivots to create that. I'll quickly duplicate this. Okay, so I'll be making use of the name to produce the total population of the students, but advisably, I'd advise you use admission number when next, or if you are the one designing yours. Why I'm making use of the names is because of there are certain students who admission numbers have not been given to in this particular template. So if I'm to make use of the admission number, I'll be reducing the population because of those students that don't actually have an admission number. So that's why I'll be making use of the name. But the ideal parameter for you to use to bring out the population is the admission number, since that is the unique identifier and no more than one student can have the same admission number. So I'll take this out. But in this case, I'll be making use of the name like this, and you can see by counts we have 167 students. So I come back to dashboard, then let me just duplicate this. All right, so let's come. Okay, before that, let us name this cell, because we're referencing this cell. So let us name it okay, let's say population. All right, so let us come back to the dashboard and reference that. So this is now equal to, Okay, so this is what we have, and this icon is not what we want for the students. So I come back to my icon sheet, then I take this, come back to dashboard, then I paste. Okay, but first of all, I'll have to delete this one. So this goes. All right, then. So I'll have to bring this one. So this can stay here. All right, so I guess this is what I want. And this is what we have. So I guess we're almost done with, in fact, I think we're done with this particular area of the dashboard. So let us just have a proper view of what it's going to look like. So I guess this is what we have, which is actually good. So now let us proceed to designing the charts and even the slicers. All right, so my next step is going to be inserting the slicer. That is the slicers that we're going to have at the very top here. So I come to my dashboard pivots, then I can just click on any of those pivot tables. Then I'll create a slicer off section. Yeah, I'll create a slicer off the section. So I'll add a slicer. So you right click on the section, this information or these options come out, then you pick the add a slicer, so you can see what we have. So for this, I'll quickly come to the slicer tab on the ribbon. Then I adjust the columns. I want it to be horizontal. So this is what we have. I can adjust this. I do not want the header, so I okay like this. Then it can hide the items with no data. Then okay. This is what we have. So I just cut this and take to my dashboard. So let's modify the style. For the fill, we give it black. Then for the font, we let it to be white. I think this is good. Then okay. Then for selected item with the data, let's format. I think I want the fill to be something like dark blue. This should be perfect. Then for the font, I want it to be something creamier, so I pick that one. Then okay, and I think I'll let it be like this. Okay. So for the slicer, so you can see the the latest modification I just made, so I can click that, and this is what we have. So you can see what we have. So if you observe, my cumulative payment keeps changing. That is because on creating the slicer, one way or the other, my slicer was connected to the cumulative payment. So what I'll need to do so that this slicer influences every other information on this area, what I'll need to do so that this slicer influences every information in this area is to connect this slicer to every information or to every pivot table bringing about this information. So first things first, endeavor to always name your pivot table. Like I said before, now I'll quickly name this pivot table. I'll name it cumulative payment. which is good. Then enter. For this pivot table, name it outstanding. It's just best practice for you to do this so that when linking your slicers to your pivot tables, you don't get confused. Good. So I've successfully named all our pivot tables. So I come back to dashboard. Alright, so let me try to link my slicers to this information. So I come to, so you right click, come to report connections. So you can see out of all the pivot tables we've created, only just one is checked. So I have to check every other information so that our slicers can influence these informations. Then okay. I hope you observe there's a little change. So okay. For this you have to adjust again. Good. And this is what we have. So you can see the moment I pick on nursery, you can see every other information changes. If I click on primary, you can see every other information changes. So this is how we connect our slicers to whatever feature we want the slicer to influence in a dashboard. All right, then, so let's proceed. So the next thing we do is we'll be creating a progress chart using a donuts chart. We'll be showing a progress of the payments that has been made by the students. So I come to my dashboard pivots and create that. So what I'll do is I'll just duplicate another pivot table. One thing you should know is you can create as many pivot tables as possible if you want. I expand this. Okay, so the next step I'll be doing is I'll take this count of name out, then I'll bring my net payable, my cumulative payment, and my outstanding all together. This is what I'll be doing. So you can see we have all of them in one pivot table. So now I want to create a percentage, because if you observe the ideal project, you can see it's kind of expressed in percentages. So I'll be using the donut chart to do that. So I'll come back here. All right, so how do we bring out the percentages out of this information? So what I'll do is I'll be using another table outside of this, although these are the values we'll be referencing, but I'll be making another table outside of this one. So what I'll do is I'll come here, then I just quickly call this net. So so I come here, then so how do I want this to be expressed? So for a percentage, this is the 100%. The net payable is the 100% of the payment. Cumulative is just part of the percentage, right? While outstanding makes up the remaining percentage. So the sum of this and this should always give us this, which means the percentage of this and this sum up to give us 100%. So it means this divided by this should be the 100% we want, right? So I'll come to home, then I'll say express as percentage. You can see this percentage. So you see it has formatted the value to 100%, right? So for the cumulative payment, all I need to do is I'll say equal to this divided by this, then I enter. So for me to format it as percentage, I'll come home, then I pick the percentage you can see here in your ribbon. So you can see we have 74%, which means the cumulative payment comprises of 74% out of the 100%. So for the outstanding will now be equal to this minus this. Then we enter. We can see 26% is what's left to be paid, and that is that. So out of this is what we'll be creating the progress chart. So let me just kind of give this borders. I come home, I just to make it look like a table, although it is not in a table in Excel, but let me just give it borders to make it look like a table. All right, this is what we have. Then we proceed. So I will just click on an empty cell, then come to insert, then pick donut, the donut chart. So I'll click any empty cell, then I'll insert a chart. That's a donuts chart, because I want to be able to represent how we track our progress. So I'll just do this. So an empty chart is kind of going to appear like this. So let's come to chart design. So I want to calibrate the donuts chart. I want to calibrate the the donuts chart, kind of. It's a design. So I'll just, although I wouldn't number the calibrations, but you're kind of going to see those lines that shows calibration. So I come to select data, then I add. Good. So you can just name this first. Then for the series values, I'll just write 1. So we'll just watch and see what is going to happen. So write 1 as much as possible, but I'll just say write 1 to about 40 or 50 times. That should be enough. Okay, so I have something like this. So I can just delete. All right, this is what I want. So I'll clear this, the title. I clear this. So I have something like this. Okay, so what I'll do next is on this chart, I'll still insert another, or better still, I come to chart design, then I see come to select data. Now I want my ideal representation. I want the data I want to be displayed to come on this first chart I created. So I just click on add again. So I can just call this second. Then for the series values, I'll just go and select, just go and highlight the range of values I want to appear. So I just want 74 and 26% to appear. I want the values in those two cells to be what is always appearing. So I click on OK, and this is what we have. And I guess that is that. So I OK like this, and you can see what we have. All right then, so let's proceed. So I can just take this, I can Control X, then I come to my dashboard here, then I paste. Good. This is what we have. So I can just change the color, the background color, to black. All right, so you can see this is what we have. I don't want no outline. So for the background of the chart, I come to format. Then I come to shape outline, then I pick no outline. Then for the chart itself, I make sure I click somewhere around or somewhere inside the donut chart itself. Then I Control 1. So you Control 1, this area comes out. I think what we don't want the line for is the very one outside, but I think we want the line for the donut chart inside. So if I click on the one inside, you can see everything is highlighted. The donut chart inside is highlighted. So I actually want the line for this one because it's going to help us bring out the calibration. So this is what I'll do. So for the fill, let's give it a gradient fill. Let's give it a gradient fill. So yeah, so just make sure you have 2 of your gradient stops like this at the extreme end. Yes, that's what you want. Then for the border, we want a solid line, and for the width, let's take it to about 7.5 pt. Okay, we can just take this. Okay, I guess we can leave it at 8 pt. So for this color, let's just make it black so it can fit with the background. So if I click on black like this, you can see what we have. We're beginning to see the calibration I'm talking about. Then for this, for the chart outside, we actually don't want an outline for this one. So we come to fill and line. So you can see for the border, we pick no line. Or pick no line, you can see the outline is kind of gone. Now what we want to do is we want to be able to track the payments progress. So we really don't want to see the outstanding, because you can see the donuts chart at the outside is actually showing the percentages. So you can see this is showing 74%, and if you remember, this is the percentage of the cumulative payment that has been made. For the orange area, you can see it's showing 26%, which is showing the value of the outstanding remaining. So what I want to be appearing is the cumulative payments, that is the progress of payments, is what I want this particular chart to display. So I'm actually going to find a way to kind of hide this orange background. I don't want to see it. All I want to see is just our progress of payments, right? So I can just click on this. So make sure you double tap or you click, right, double click, something like that, on the orange area. Then you come to fill. So you can just give it black. You can just give it a solid fill of black. So give it a solid fill. then take its transparency to about 100. Good. So that even if you make it yellow color, you can't still see anything showing, right? Because our transparency is at 100%. So this is how we want it to be. You can see it's beginning to come out like what we wanted. So now for this area, for the cumulative payment area, that is the progress of payment. For this area, I want it to have a gradient fill. So I click on the gradients fill, and this is what comes out. So the transparency is at 100. Take it back to 0%, and you can see it is now showing clearly. So yeah, this is how I want it to be, and that is fine by me. You can see this is actually coming out fine. For the size of this chart, I'll have to adjust it. This is what we have. We can see our calibration is kind of gone. So now for the values inside, I can just create a shape first of all. Come to flowchart. I think I'll be making use of the connector or something like that. So create a circle like this. So it's going to be inside. Good. So you can see what we have. So this color also takes a gradient fill. So I just click on my gradient fill, and this is what I have. I don't want any outline for this shape. So I'm in shape format already. So I just click on no outline, and you can see there is no longer the outline there. So now what I'll do is I'll insert text boxes to be able to produce those values. But before then, I have an icon at the top around here. So I come to my icons, and I think this is the icon I made use of. This is what best depicts payments progress. So I come to my dashboard, then I Control V. Good. So I just align this somewhere around the top here, and that is good enough. And that is good enough. So I just come to insert, then I insert my text boxes. Good. So I want the percentage of the cumulative payment to appear here whenever we click a slicer. So I come to dashboard pivots. So for this particular cell, I just call it, you see, I'll name this particular cell so I can be able to reference it. I just come to this particular area, and I call it so I come here, I just come to this area, then I use equal to, then I call my cell. So you can see payments progression at the very top, and I click this, then I enter. You can see 74% is now appearing here. So I'm going to make it have the same color as the background. So I just Control 1, then I give it a gradient fill, and this is good enough. I don't want any outlines, so I come to shape format, then I click on shape outline, then I pick no outline. Good. Something like this. I can also make it transparent because I'm kind of seeing the color not blending with the background, so I just make it transparent. I can see it is now blending properly. So here I can just adjust the size of the write up, so I can come home, then increase the size to something visible enough. I think this is quite visible. Good. Now this is what we have. So another text box will do. So I just Control C this, then I Control V. This is where I'll be writing my payments progress. So I just clear this, then I type. So I'll just have to reduce the size of this. So for the font style, we'll be giving it Ban Schrift. So this is what we'll be giving it. Then we enter. I'm just going to duplicate this particular donut chart. So I want to be able to I want to be able to show the outstanding payment. Sorry, I want to be able to show the non-payment. So the non-payment here is more like those that haven't paid anything. Alright then, so let me quickly go design the engine. So I'm quickly going to duplicate any pivot table I have here. So I just Control C this. So I just paste here. Good. So I bring out my field list, come to pivot table analyze, then field list at the far top right here. So what do we do now? So there's what we call payment status. So your payment status is either full payment, complete payment, sorry, full payment, part payment, or non-payment. Those are the payment statuses we have. So we want to be able to see the percentages, or should I say, we want to be able to track those that haven't paid anything, right? I want to be able to see their percentages. So we're quickly going to take the payment status into our values, so we can see the payment status here. So I'm going to quickly drag this to the values, and we can have something like this. So after taking it to the values, we still take it to our rows, so we can be able to see the numbers. So we can see that by count we have 5 students that haven't paid anything, and by count we have 25 students that have paid full payments. By count we have 17 students that have paid part payments for whatever section we've picked in our slicer. So alright then, so I'm going to summarize this as percentages. Sorry, I'm going to show these values as percentages of column total. So when I click on this, you can see, so when we sum up all these 3 values, we're expected to have 100%. So this is the percentage I want, just this value here. So I'm quickly going to come to my dashboard. So for this, I just click on this. I just click on the chart, click on the chart itself. Good. Then come to chart design, then come to select data. The second row we can see is what we're going to be editing. So we edit this. So now we don't want this range to appear. The range of values we want to appear has changed. So we clear that. Then we pick this range. This is the range of value we want to appear. Then we OK, right? Then OK like this. We can now see the donut chart has changed. Now we have about 3 segments, which is showing those 3 values we have, right? So we want to be able to track the non-payment, right? And the non-payment is the one with 11%, which, if I'm not mistaken, 10.64%. If I come back to the dashboard pivots, so we can see this is the non-payment. So it means when we come back here, so we're going to actually make all these other ones disappear and let only this area keep appearing. But for now, let's take out the outline. So I Control 1, I come to field and line. For the border, we want no line, which is good. Then for the blue and the gray area, first of all, for this one, I just pick solid fill. Then I take its transparency to 100. Same thing I'll do to the gray area. I just click on it, and this is what we have. So for the area which shows the non-payment, I just make sure I give it a gradient fill. Good. This is what I have. With the gradient stops at the extreme end, and this is fine. So and this is okay. So we can see what we have. So if I click on okay, now I have to reference. Now I have to take away this. This is not the icon we'll be needing. For the value, let's come to dashboard pivots. Now this particular cell, we're going to name it non-payment. So this is not the icon we want, so I delete this and I come to icons. So now the next thing we want to be able to show is the payments breakdown by class in every section, right? So if I'm to, for instance, click the senior secondary school, I expect to see the payments that have been made in every class in the senior secondary school, which spans from SS1 to SS3. So let's quickly proceed with that. So I come to my dashboard pivots, then I create another pivot table. Like I said, you can always make as many pivot tables as possible. So just make sure you keep up with naming them, because at the end you eventually need this. So I haven't been doing that, but I guess I can do this off screen, but it's expected you always do that, right? So endeavor to always name your pivot tables after you've created them. It is best practice because it helps you during your connection process. All right then, so out of this I just bring up my field list. Now I want to be able to show the payments breakdown, so bring the cumulative payment to values. Then I'm going to bring the classes. First of all, I bring the section. I want to be able to see the classes in every section. So this is how I'm going to do that. Good. So I just cut this. Then I take it to my dashboard. Then I paste here. And just close this now for now. So I can just make this background black. I don't want no outline, so I come to format. Then I pick no outline. And this is what we have. For the color of the bars, I just control 1. The same thing, I want it to have a gradient fill, and make sure the gradient stops at the extreme end of it. Transparency goes back to 0%. And this is what we have. Good. So for this, we can probably make it glow. So come to format, shape effects, and come to glow like this. So you can pick this one, the 5 points gray accent color 3. So this is, you can see what we have. For this one, it's for the horizontal axis, giving it a white color, giving it text. So you just come to this and good. And now this is what we have. So you can see I've connected my slicers to them, so they're actually functional. So let me quickly all right, then I guess this is what we have. So let's proceed with the remaining charts at the bottom. Payment type, which is what is telling us if it's a full payment the student has made or the part payment. And the next is a pie chart showing us the number of regular and the new intake. So if you're a regular student, it's telling us that there are about 46 regular students, and for the new intake we have about 5 new intake students. And this is now showing us the outstanding payments for every class, how much is remaining, or should I say this is the bar chart showing us the outstanding payments for every class in a particular section. So I come to my dashboard pivots. This is where I'll be creating those engines. So I'm going to duplicate this. Alright then, so I just bring out my field list. So I want to use a bar chart to be able to show the full payment and the part payments that have been made. So I put it in values. Then I still bring the payment values to rows. Or better still, this is not what I want here. So I take out this count of payment status. What I've been bringing is the cumulative payment to this place. And you can see this is what we have. We'll have something like this. So I'm going to filter out the non-payment. I don't want the non-payment to appear on the chart. So I'm going to filter this out, and you can see what we have. So I'm going to quickly insert a bar chart here. So I come to this, then insert. I paste. So I quickly make the background black. And this is what we have now. So for the text, that's for the horizontal axis, I'll make it white. And this is what we have. So I'm quickly going to change the background color. Sorry, the color for the bars. So you can just close this now, then Control 1. Good. Come to field and line. Then I can give it a gradient fill. So you can just tamper with it. We have something like this and still looks great. So, and that is that. So we close. Okay, I actually want the data labels on them. All right then. So these data labels, we're just going to probably make them visible. So the next thing we'll be showing is the pie chart. So the pie chart actually shows us the number of new and regular students that we have. So I come to my dashboard pivots and I recreate that. This is the student status. So I bring it to values. Then I also take the student status to row. It's now showing the population of every student category. So if you're a new student, if you're a new intake, you can see that we have about 5 new intakes for the particular section I've selected. This is showing that we have about 18 regular students for the particular section I have selected. The section selected is, I don't know, but we can actually check that later. But for now, this is all we need to know. So let's create a pie chart out of that information. So I'll just come to insert to make sure you've picked a cell in this pivot table. So you come home. Come to insert, then pick a pie chart for that. I only want this, so I just quickly cut this and take to the dashboard. Then I paste here. So this background becomes black. And we really don't want any outline, so good. Now for the chart itself, we also don't want any line. So we just take that out. So for the border, we say no line. And this is what we have. So for I kind of want them divided, or should I say separated a little bit. That is the sectors we have. I kind of want them separated a little. So let me just make this 5%. Then I want the data labels showing. So I click, you can see it is showing. So but that's just not what I want to appear. So I come to more options. I also want the category name to appear. Good, which is either new intake or regular. So I can now close this with ease, and that is what we have. So this looks good. Then one more thing, I inserted a shape kind of round it. So I come to insert also, then I come to shapes. I pick this. From basic shapes, you see a shape called hollow, circle, but it's hollow. So I pick this, then I kind of drag on it. This is what we have. So I'm quickly going to change this color. So for the shape outline, I'm going to make it white. Then I'm actually going to give it a glow. So I come to glow. Then for this third one, I just pick this one, and you can see this is what we have. So I'm quickly going to just so for this I changed the height and the width also. Good. We have something like this. So the final thing we'll be showing is the outstanding. So we'll be showing the outstanding for every class in this area. So I come to the dashboard pivots and create that particular engine, which will be responsible for the chart. Good. So I quickly bring out my field list. Then I bring my classes. I want to show it by class, by every class. Then I bring the classes here. So we can see the outstanding amounts remaining for nursery 1. You can see the outstanding for also nursery 2 and that. So this tells us that actually in our slicer, what is the section that has been selected is the nursery. If I were to pick the primary from my slicer, you can see the information has changed here. So now out of this, we'll be creating a bar chart. So I come to, when this situation it will be horizontal. So I come to insert, then I pick a bar chart. So I'll pick in a horizontal one at that. So I clear all this. I just cut, then I bring this to the dashboard, then I paste. So I'll quickly change the color of the bars. So I control 1, then come to the fill and line. So I just pick a gradient fill for it, then I leave it like this. I can also come to I can also give it an effect. I can make it glow also. So I can make this one glow. Then I think I'll leave it like this. Okay, and I also want the data labels to appear. So I just click on this, and you can see that. So I just quickly make the text white, and the same thing I'll do for the horizontal axis. I'll make it white, and we can see our dashboard is kind of complete. So let me quickly just take out the formula bar. We can see the entire view of it. So you can see we have something like this. All right then, so I think I'll have to adjust. Good, and we have something like this. So I think the only thing left out is those, the name of our charts, that is the name of our bar charts. So the last thing to do is to create the final background, which is the one showing the, should I say, the navigation bar kind of. So I'll just insert a shape. By now you should know this. So I just insert a rectangle. Alright, so I'll quickly change the color. This is what we have. So I'll quickly just insert an icon for the home page. So you just right click, then you link. But first of all, let's take here as my home page. Don't forget this is a new workbook. So let's just take this place to be my home page. So I can just name this cell home. Then I enter, so I come back to my dashboard. So I'll right click, then I'll attach a link to this. So I'll say place in this document. So home, the place I just defined, then okay. I can still like edit the link. I actually want this to be showing home as a screen tip. So this is what, so the very moment you hover on the icon, this is the name that is going to appear instead of some weird or awkward name that normally comes out. So okay, then I okay like this, and see on hovering over the icon you can see it's telling me home. So if I just click this, it brings me to this place. So that is how we add a link. And for now I guess this is all we have to say we need for the dashboard. Okay, I think I'll add a shadow to this shape. I'll add a shadow to this shape. So I just come to shape effects, then I say shadow, then alter dashboard. So I can just take out the formula bar so we can see it clearly. And this is what we have. You can also insert so many icons here to navigate through your workbook. And the only thing left out is to change the format of the values we have here. So all you just need to do is come to your dashboard pivots. Then for every icon, for every pivot here, you change the format to currency.